Good morning, y'all. It's Randy of Father and Sons Fishing, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a different video. We're going shelling. Now, we've done this one other time on the channel, but today we're a little more serious about it. I'm definitely a novice sheller still, but I've been trying to read up on my shell species, and I've learned a couple tricks along the way that I'll teach you today in this video. Now, the first trick is the early bird gets the shells. Okay, I'll see you on the beach. Okay, y'all, and I know you probably can't see much other than my headlamp, but I am walking to the beach. Now, a lot of people come to the beach and they love to look for shells, but if you really want to maximize your chances of finding good shells, you got to do what I'm doing, and that is to walk to a remote section of the beach, and you really probably need to do it early. There's some more stuff in terms of tides, and I'll talk about that later, but let me get down here and see what there is to see. So I'm just looking along the tide line, and already we've got our first find. So we got a part of a whelk here. It's not going to be a keeper. I'm hoping I can find some more. So we're going to put him back and keep going. Oh, look here. Another partial whelk. Oh, wow. This one, well, it's a shame this one was not whole. This is a huge, this looks like a lightning whelk, and I know that because the opening is here on the left side. So what a good sized lightning whelk. And we got a, looks like another partial lightning whelk here. Super cool. This one's like a deep blue. We're gonna keep going here. What do we have here? Holy tamale. All right. Look at this. It's our first intact whelk of the morning, but this thing is the most massive shell. This I believe this is a knobbed whelk, but this is an older shell. I gotta get it here in the light so you can see it. This is an older shell, and it is so heavy. It's so massive. I don't know if I'm gonna even keep it because it's gonna weigh me down quite a bit. Okay, folks, well, I ran into a bit of a disappointing finding, and that is I've seen some footprints and some dog prints that I know are fresh, and also some wheels from what looks like a cart, and I can tell they're kind of weaving in and out of the points where the tide reached. So even though I got here well before sunrise, and even though I don't see anyone on this beach for miles, it appears this has already been picked through. So I'm probably not going to find any crazy nice big intact whelk shells, or Scotch bonnets for that matter, which I would love to find an intact Scotch bonnet. And also they're not as sexy, but olive shells are really cool. I decided I want to start an olive shell collection. I'm going to get a big glass jar and just fill it with olive shells. So I probably will be able to find some of those, but right now my eyes are more on the macro, the looking for the larger shells. So I'm olive shell right there. Let's go ahead and take this one. Now this one has a hole here in the top, but it still is good enough for the collection. So let's keep moving. Oh, I can't believe that I'm not the first person here. And I also see tire tracks here too, but those should be from the National Park Service, because where I am does not allow beach driving. I don't want to give out any more hints because people familiar with the Outer Banks are already going to figure out where I am. But I do, nope, I'm still seeing these see these tracks here? They're like by some kind of wagon, and they weave in and out, and I got dog footprints, and these are definitely fresh. I mean, we are about 3-4 hours from high tide, so I'm not going to give up, but it's certainly disappointing, considering I started the whole video by saying the most important thing you can do is to get here early. And that's just a good example. I mean, I did get here early, and I got beat. This is a lightning whelk, and you can tell from because the opening's on the left. Should put my flashlight away. I don't need that anymore. But again, there's just not. I'm kind of going for a little bit more intact than this. They don't have to be completely 100% intact, but for me to like go through the effort of picking them up and hauling them in, because if you've had a good day and you find a bunch of big whelks, they get heavy real quickly. So that's why whoever's here are obviously shellers, because they had a wagon with them. Here's another sign that they were shellers, if you didn't need to know already. So I see some footprints here, and I see a whelk here, and there was movement as if the person was standing here and kicked it to see if it was whole, and then it was probably buried in the sand, so you can only see a little bit, but it's not a keeper, and so they moved on. So I am definitely not the first person here, unfortunately. What a bummer. So I got some whelk fragments here. 1, 2, 3. Again, none to the point where I would keep them. I'm gonna be a little, well, I thought I was gonna be selective. Maybe I should lower my standards a bit here. That's olive shell here. Oh, this is a pretty one. All right. Look how pretty this one is, folks. It's an intact olive. I don't know my olive species, so if any shellers are watching this, they're probably appalled because I just know olive, but it's a beautiful, beautiful color. I know there is a name for these because I actually was looking at some pictures a couple days ago, and there's this coloration that had a name, so I'm sure I'll probably look it up and post it kind of like right here. But this is a beautiful shell. This is going to end my shelling at this location. I'm going to go back to the truck and see if I can have luck elsewhere. Too bad this wasn't intact. This is a really nice knobbed whelk here. Well, it would have been a really nice knobbed whelk. Another pretty whelk fragment there. I mean, there's several. There's this one here. This is gorgeous. Look at that. There's another partial whelk over here. I can tell this is a lightning whelk. Again, the opening's on the left. Another one down there. Oh, a shark-eyed shell. This is a good size one too. It's too bad my son Ryan isn't here with me. This is like his favorite shell. Shark-eyed shell. Look at this little friend here. How cute is that? I'm out here on the beach at sunrise, and how much more gorgeous does it get than this? So I'm gonna keep looking here. I doubt that I'm gonna find any more big intact whelk shells, but I gotta tell you, this is just a blessing to be out here. Absolutely beautiful. Oh wow, oh my gosh. Look at what that is. Oh, how about this? This is not intact, but this is the most intact Scotch bonnet I've ever found. I am so excited by this. This is crazy. This is a mostly intact Scotch bonnet right here. Wow. I am so happy right now. Oh my gosh! Whoa! Look at this! Oh, it's not intact. That's a shame. This is really cool. And this is either a knobbed whelk or one of those Keener whelks. How cool is this? I just wish it was intact. That's super cool. I'm still keeping it. How neat. One thing you don't want to find at the beach is litter. So always take care of the beach, friends, and if you're out and you see anything, pick it up. I have a basket in the back of my truck for litter that I find along the way. So fortunately, this is the only thing I've seen today so far, so that's a good sign. But I'm winding down here. Let's see if we can find a couple more shells, and then I have a couple shelling secrets for you. A little whelk fragment here. Pretty little guy. Oh, look at this one. Oh my gosh. This might be my favorite shell of the day. Well, no, the Scotch bonnet is, but look at this cute little whelk. How beautiful is that? I think it would be really cool to just get a big glass jar or vase and collect nothing but these pretty scallops and put them in there. That would make for a great display. But that's a project for another day. I think this is called a slipper shell. I think. I've watched a couple YouTube videos basically on shelling, and that's my knowledge, so take what I say with a grain of salt, but I think that might be a slipper shell. Piece of coral. It's really cool. Another super, so this is the day of the small, almost intact, wave-worn whelk shells. Here's another small, worn, partial whelk. Kind of cool. Really pretty colors on that. CSC footprints here. So this has been looked over. But when you have a shell bed like this, where there's just so much, and especially if you're looking for some of the smaller shells, then I don't think there's anything wrong with not being the first person here, because you're still going to find some gems. Even someone with a really, really good eye is going to miss some shells from time to time. Oh, look at this. Okay, this is not nearly as exciting as the other one I found, but this is a piece of a Scotch bonnet. A real small piece of a Scotch bonnet. I'm keeping it still. That is on my shelling bucket list, is to find an intact Scotch bonnet. Oh, look at this. It's another cutie pie whelk. That's what we're gonna call these. We're gonna call these small, partially intact, worn down whelks. We're gonna call those cutie pie whelks. That's my official name of that species of whelk. That's all we're finding today. But that's cool. They're really fun shells. Cutie pie whelk. You heard it here first, folks. Well, I think now that I have named a new species of shell, the cutie pie whelk, that's gonna wrap up this shelling adventure. Okay, folks, I'm crouched down here behind my truck just to get some decent audio since it's so windy. Got some seagulls and a couple vultures eating a dead dogfish shark back there. But let me show you the haul, and then we're gonna go to a place where it's a little bit more wind protected, and I'm gonna wrap up with some helpful pointers for shelling on the Outer Banks. All right, folks, I found a place a little more protected from the wind so we can wrap this up. Now, this video did not turn out like I intended. I intended to go out and try to find some really big whelk shells. I was out a couple mornings ago and I found some, and I'll roll on those photos right now. Now, I had a lot of people in the comments ask me where I was when I found these whelk shells. And if you're a serious fisherman, then kind of one of the unspoken rules is that you never ask a fellow angler what his or her location is. And even though I'm not a serious sheller myself, I have a feeling it's kind of the same thing in the shelling community. So out of respect to my more serious shelling friends, I'm not going to reveal the exact location, but the photos that I took those photos intentionally angled so that if you're familiar with the Outer Banks, you could figure out where I was. And the hint that I said on Facebook, and I'll say again here in this video, is that I took those photos in the morning. Now, if you couldn't figure out where in the Outer Banks I was from those photos, that just simply means you need to spend more time here in the Outer Banks. Now, here's a couple tips for anyone who wants to increase their odds of finding shells at the beach. Number one, be the first person there. The worst thing you can see when you're shelling is someone else's footprints. And that happened to me this morning. I got there about an hour before sunrise, and yet there were two sets of footprints, a dog's footprints, and a cart, so I was definitely not the first person there. Now, if you're out looking for big whelk shells, that's really important because number one, those tend to be the most popular shells, but also they're the easiest to see. So unless you're the first person there, you're probably not going to find those big, gorgeous whelk shells. Now, if you're looking for smaller shells, don't be deterred by someone else's footprints, because especially if you find one of those large shell groups, there's a lot of times where you may discover something that wasn't picked through already. Now, another tip is to know your tides. You want to shell on an outgoing or low tide, because that way, if you look near the water's edge, you might be able to find some shells that would have otherwise been covered up. And also, you'll have good access to the high tide line, which is going to be where you find a majority of your shells. And along those lines, if you can shell after a storm, you might get into a gold mine of treasures washed up on the shore. But by far and away, the most important shelling tip is to have fun. Enjoy the adventure. You're on the beach. This morning, I got to be on the beach at sunrise, and it's hard to think of a more blessed way to start the day than that. And then I had a ton of fun. I found all these little whelk shells that I have renamed a new species of whelk. These are the cutie pie whelks, so thank you very much for discovering this new species of whelk today. And then by far and away for me, the most exciting thing was finding this Scotch bonnet. Now, I know it's got a hole in it, but this is the most intact Scotch bonnet I've found, and I am so excited about this. So that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and if you're not a subscriber to Father and Sons Fishing, please consider doing so. We have a lot of fun fishing, outdoors, family content, and if you like this video, you'll definitely like some of our other videos as well. So friends, well, normally this is where I would say tight lines. What's the shelling equivalent of tight lines? I guess full bags? All right, friends, we'll see you soon. Take care.